Hello, hello. Welcome to Fight the FUPA podcast number 5 with Lynn and Brenda.
Hello.
Um, well, thank you all for joining us. I hope you guys have enjoyed our last few podcasts. We've really been tackling different topics revolving around specifically the FUPA and how you can get rid of that fatty upper pubic area, which, we can get that with midlife. We can get that with stress, lack of sleep, family history, and your genetics. It can be because of insulin resistance, hormones. I mean, so many things cause this middle abdominal weight gain. Even lack of eating. People that are fasting a long, long time that think that's great for them. But for some people, that can store in the midsection because your body thinks you need to eat. So we were supposed to have a guest on today, and she will be joining us at a later date, but she's a registered dietitian. So I do want to make a note that she will be talking about uh, online when you see posts and you see somebody saying they're a nutritionist, that might mean that they took a 2-day course online. There's a lot of, anyone can call themselves a nutritionist, but a dietitian, a licensed dietitian, they went to school for 4 years. A registered dietitian did an extra year. I mean, there is so much science and biology behind what they do, that they help in the hospital with feeding tubes. They help with like how all the nutrient breakdown. So it's a lot more science than people realize. So sometimes when we see things online or Brenda sends me something, we want to try today to dispel some of those myths of, like, what to look for, what's real, what's not real. And then maybe just talk about what supplements are sort of the true tried, tested, the ones that have been around a long time. So, and then of course, we'll talk about maybe ones that we use. So
Absolutely. And I think that, I'm constantly seeing things online and I'm always researching and trying to learn and be better on my own health journey. And I'll always flip things to Lynn. I'm like, this looks like bogus stuff to me.
I've
How
been
legit
getting
is
those
this?
for 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. I'm like, what about
Is this
this?
true? Is this true? Is this And
Lynn,
usually I do a little bit of an eye roll and I go, oh, what she said now. I don't think there's been very many things, to be honest with you, that I've said, yes, friend, this is awesome.
right? And I think
I
that
know I
that's
sound
the,
skeptical, and I
I
am.
know. I think that that's the challenge is when your best friend is your Google, it gets really easy to flip information to find out if it's accurate or not because there's so many experts or people that can come across as experts online, and we would never pretend to be your health practitioner or your
No.
doctor. We are going to share our own experiences and we are going to lean on Lynn's 30 years of actual medical background, and but still at the end of the day encourage you to go talk to your health practitioner and find things that are a good fit for you on your journey because there's
Evidence,
no one size fits all.
science-based, like, research. Like, we want it to
Yes.
be real. So,
Yes.
um, and some of the things that you've sent, again, they've all been somewhat accurate. Like, there's always a little piece that's, from a small study, let's say. And then there's a whole sort of 1-minute reel made about it, and everyone it thinks, wow, that's amazing. All I have to do is eat strawberries. I'm gonna lose fat. I'm like,
That was the one
I
I sent her this morning. I'm like,
I
look at
cringe
this
sometimes. I
guy.
go, if
I
we could
couldn't
all just
believe
wake
it.
up and have strawberries and water and lose weight,
Yes.
like, come on, like,
Yeah.
that's
I didn't believe it, but
from
I
a
thought, well, there's
young
got to be
male,
maybe
that's a
something
young
there.
twiggy male said it too, and I was like,
Yeah.
so sorry.
I might have had
So
socks in my drawer older than this guy, and he's coming on talking as he's
so
a
yeah, I mean,
nutritionist.
there's a little bit of, again, a little bit of science where someone can take it and stretch it. Like, I mean, obviously you're not going to, we could do that all year. It's not going to help us lose a pound, but does it help a little with inflammation? Strawberries, yeah, sure. There's some evidence that says, it does a little bit. Or, does it have a little fiber? Does it help your sugar after a little bit with a tiny bit of fiber? Well, yeah, they're low glycemic. And yeah, you need to eat a whole cup of berries. But, in the same breath, you said in another video that I clicked on that 7 grams of carbs is going to spike your sugar. And I was like, oh. Anyway, so Point being is don't listen, don't believe everything you hear. And even if someone, might make a comment on a video we've made, or a comment that says, what are you talking about? If you eat overnight soaked oats with a whole banana and milk, that is not going to raise your sugar. I'm like, well, because I work in diabetes, it raises a lot of people's sugar because it's a bowl of carbs. I mean, is it healthy? Absolutely. Is it great for your heart? Does it have fiber? Great. True. Does it have enough protein? Not that much, but is it great for your sugar? Probably not. So it's going to be different for every person. But, this whole thing, yeah, well, it's got resistant starch because they kept it in the fridge overnight. I'm like, it's very minuscule what that does. So, I mean, Brenda, I know you have diabetes, but if you had a whole overnight soaked oats with chia, there you go. There's your overnight mush. Yeah, it's already mushed up. It's going to go up real fast.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's
Now,
what you taught me because I was so excited to find something that was easy that I could make the night before and mix it up. And it was organic overnight muesli, and it came in a bunch of different flavors, 20 grams of plant-based protein, and made in Canada. Hooray. I was super
well, I
excited.
will say, if you try it and you want to know what it does, test your sugar 2 hours later. If it only
Yes.
goes up 40 or 50 points, it stays under 180 if you have diabetes, under 140 if you don't have diabetes, you're good to go. It's going to be
Right.
different for every person. But if you had an omelet first with some cheese, I was going to say cheese, but I was anyway, some type of fat cheese or whatever in it, and then a little bit of like steel cutouts, it might go in slower, or maybe those mushy ones would be fine. I don't know, but there's
Right.
protein in it, so it might be just fine. You'll know after you do it. Everyone is
Yes.
going to be different. Everyone's going to react different. So just a big blanket statement like this is great for you because it's resistant, like that's not a thing. So
It's
it's
not
different
really a
for everybody.
truthful statement for everybody.
Yes. So there's always a little truth, but a lot of
Stretch.
misleading things too. So stretch, yeah. So as a diabetes nurse, I can be sitting in my office, and everyone has Dr. Google. So as soon as they're told they have they come in and they're like, well, I read this and I saw this and I heard about this, and so of course I'm going to listen, but generally what we hear is not always accurate, and so we tell them what's current and up to date. Again, evidence-based, science-backed. So we have guidelines, and doctors and research that tell us what the guidelines are every year. They change every year, so you've got to know. Sometimes someone on Google saw something from 10 years ago, and so they think that's still a thing. So anyway,
Right.
um
That might have been me. Just saying.
oh,
I'm
you
not
and
going to
everyone
point any
else, but
fingers.
no, you and everyone else. So yeah, so
Well, I would like to touch base on, like, we get lots of emails and lots of texts and phone calls and voicemails and people asking, but what are you doing? What products have you tried? Which ones do you like? And something that I learned recently when I went to boot camp Lynn and visited her in Florida for a week. So this is my protein. It is going to be changing because I found it's made in the US. I love all my American friends, don't get me wrong, but I am looking for Canadian products. But this, until I'm done, because I bought them in bulk, this is 30 grams of protein, and I pour it in my coffee in the morning. I also have some carbs because Lynn's on me. I got to have some carbs with that. It may or may not be some of this, but I am going to have some carbs with my
yeah.
protein. But so here I am in Florida pouring this into my coffee, and she's like, so Bren, just so you know
In
that
that
when you
piping hot coffee.
she goes, just so you know, when you pour your protein into your piping hot coffee, I don't know how you said it to me, but my face, you said it kind of breaks down the protein and you're not getting what you think you're getting. And my face was like, well, that's awesome because I've been doing this for a year and buying this protein at Costco.
You still did get protein. It's just,
Yeah, but I'm
somewhat
buying 30
denatured, yeah.
grams worth because I want 30 grams. And so what I did learn is to just cool off your coffee, add some ice. So instead of having my hot mocha, because I would make myself a little mocha in the morning, now the first thing that I do in the morning is have a glass of water. Then I follow that up with half a cup of bone broth. So I get my hot. and it's just got a lot of good benefits. And then a little bit later on in the morning, I drink my iced coffee with my mocha and or with my chocolate added to it. And then now, am I hitting more goals recently? Yeah, maybe. But however, I'm doing it properly. And that was because, my bestie forgot to let me know that I was drinking my coffee wrong for a year. So
Well,
that
a
was
protein supplement is definitely one of the products that we were going to discuss. Is any kind of protein powder that helps you meet your protein goal a little easier. Another thing that sort of helps if you are trying to fight the FUPA and the middle abdominal weight gain, and we've talked about this on other episodes, but you definitely want to be probably getting not like some supplements to help you work out. So maybe like a pre-workout. I do a pre-workout every day. I also take creatine every day. So creatine kind of helps with energy and helps you get stronger. And there's some other science that's helping it with, your brain health and, lower risk of Alzheimer's. So there's lots of things that I've been, it's definitely making me stronger. So to sleep better at night, because if we sleep better at night, taking magnesium glycinate can help you sleep better. If you have a deeper sleep, you have less cortisol. That helps burn belly fat. Like you don't want, if you have a lot of cortisol, that's when you start gaining. So you'll get to sleep faster and you'll sleep longer.
so
Vitamin
Lynn, can I interrupt you for a second? So magnesium glycinate, because there's so many different kinds.
glycinate. Yeah,
Glycinate. So there's so many different
not the
kinds.
citrate. The mag citrate is more of a laxative, so don't do that.
Do not confuse those two.
Well, they all kind of are magnesium, but there's different ones. So because
Okay.
I recently started HRT, I did get this sort of HRT complete, like this supplement that sort of does have a little bit of everything in it. So I did notice there's B12 and there's some magnesium and calcium and whatnot. But overall, I do take a vitamin D and a magnesium also. I also take an omega. That's a fish oil. You want to make sure if you take fish oil every day, it kind of helps with inflammation. So if you have, for my joints, I feel like they feel better. It's better for brain health. Another thing is making sure if you do have a pre-workout or anything for your workout that it's not like I take in the morning, like if well again it's more for HRT, but I make sure I take certain ones in the morning, but then the ones that help me go to sleep, like if you take progesterone, that would be more again at night. So you have to know when to take your certain hormones. And I think just like you said, taking a protein supplement, some type of supplement, really does help too. So the thing I wouldn't do is buy something that says fat burner. Generally, they're not really helping you burn fat, and you're probably going to waste a lot of money. So all the other things that you do to set up for a successful sort of again health wise. Prioritizing protein like we've talked about, making sure you get a little bit of carb at each meal, making sure you get your water, your walking, and your positive attitude. So the 3 W's: water, walking, winning. So it's more of a lifestyle modification. And again, the supplements are just there to help supplement your diet, because sometimes when you're trying to hit a calorie deficit to lose weight, I hear a lot of people, maybe sometimes even from us, like, oh, I gained 3 pounds this week. I gained 4 pounds this week. So the number on this, you can't gain that much fat in 5 days. Okay. You can gain water. You can have a little bit extra carbs and that holds water. You might be a little backed up. You could just need to do, a number two. You, you could
Magnesium
be,
citrate.
um, so yeah, so I think in terms of body composition, you don't want to worry so much about the number on the scale more than you want to worry about, again, building lean muscle, taking supplements to help you sleep okay, make you feel like you're regular, taking your water in, getting your protein in. So it's sort of a myriad of things that sort of all together help build this a composition that's healthy down the road. We should be doing things like you saw when you were here, I got that rebounder. We should be jumping a little more. And again, for not getting osteoporosis. Another thing I didn't mention I take is, or maybe I did, the vitamin D. If you take vitamin D with fat, like a fatty food, like if I eat them with my eggs or whatever, it helps improve your mood and your overall immune system. So if you, well, I am actually vitamin D deficient, which is strange because, of course, I live in Florida and you're in the sun, you think, oh, you just get your vitamin D. But some, especially women, have to supplement. So you might want to ask if you need vitamin D. But yeah, taking a little bit of vitamin D, and again, the magnesium at bed. So those are all sort of basic things that have been true, tried, and tested a long time. Now, there's a lot of newer things, obviously, but if you just have some basic supplements like that, they'll go a long, long way. So,
You know, something that, so for a long time, I thought that I had, I don't know if it was IBS or irritable bowel syndrome or just an upset tummy or digestive problems, but it kind of started around when I had found out I had diabetes. And instantly, and maybe it's because my food, I wasn't getting the nutrition, right? The insulin isn't working in Brenda's body, that maybe the nutrition isn't there, or maybe because as a diabetic or someone with diabetes, I craved, um, I was always hungry. I always had that food noise. I was always seeking anything that was fast. And when I'm
so that's what
hungry,
insulin
I'm hungry.
resistance does. That's exactly what it does.
Right. And so then I would eat fast and probably not good, healthy choices. And then my tummy would be like, it was instant. And I'm like, do I have some sort of chronic indigestion problem or some sort of something more than just what my food choices are? And then I started researching, and I may or may not have gone to the Google/Lynn. I can't remember, to be honest. But I started looking at my gut health and how can I improve my gut health. And so I started looking at probiotics and looking at natural foods because I not that I stay away from supplements, but if I can find something that's like food based, that's kind of where I've shifted to.
Yeah. Mhm.
However, so so now I'm eating the sauerkraut. Now I'm eating olives for the good fats. Now I've changed all the oils in our house to olive oil. And I'm just making small little changes, whether it's fats, foods, whatever, just so I'm making healthier choices. But sometimes, like I did come across this. It's a vegetarian capsule made by a Canadian company. It's a complete care probiotic, and it's that 34 billion viable cells of um,
Cultures.
cultures, I guess,
So
for
yeah.
intestinal health. I can tell you, as someone who used to eat something and then instantly have to go to the washroom, because I remembered when I was with this one business group, BNI, and we would have a breakfast in the morning. I was the president of the chapter. Every time I talked and we ate breakfast throughout the meeting, I knew that I had to time by the time I was done talking. And now, when it's going to go around the room and people are going to do their infomercial, I literally I've got to skedaddle out of the room. And it was like clockwork. It couldn't have, I'm like, how could this be going through my body this fast in like 11 minutes? Right? It's not even
So I
digested, but
think
it was so awful.
a lot of people don't realize that even in perimenopause and menopause that we have a lot of shifts to our gut, um, and our cholesterol. And for me it was more the opposite. I had chronic constipation for 10 years,
Mm.
and I, I tried to even I started drinking coffee late in life trying to help all that. I do Miralax every day. I do fiber. So, in that time you may have had where you were just reactive to, like, maybe you didn't get enough fiber, maybe you had a high fat, whatever, it just built up and then you went. But in my case, I was chronically dieting, so I was getting probably a lack of bulk. So a lot of it has to do
Mm.
with what's bulking. Do you have enough fiber to bulk? Do you have this insoluble and the soluble fiber? You drink enough water to push it through? So some people get a lot of fiber and eat a lot of fruits and veggies and lots of oats and different things, but then they don't drink enough water and it just stays there. And then
Right.
other people, things just tend to go through and move through, and you're just eating on the go, and it's fast food, and it's high in fat, and it just there's no fiber, and it goes right through. So again, it's different for everybody. So a lot of people think fiber is what moves us, but for
Right.
some people, you can get over too much fiber and it won't move. So
Interesting.
your bowel motility, it's very dependent on how you are. Like mine is obviously sluggish and slow. Yours at the time was super fast. But then I
Mm-hmm.
realized when I did get my hysterectomy that I knew why it was slow. And this might be TMI, but everything was blocked up because I had massive fibroids. So after everything was removed, my large uterus was removed, things moved better. So I didn't have all
Yeah.
the adhesions and all the things. So I think it's interesting. This gut microbiome and gut health is a relatively new topic scientifically. It's been around for 20, 30 years that we've talked about it, but there's still a lot we don't know. But we do know that obviously getting things like fermented foods, like you mentioned, the sauerkraut, I do, kimchi, whatever it is, sour, that's like a prebiotic. Getting probiotics, getting postbiotics, getting lots of different types of fruits and veggies and fiber. We get a lot of those in our foods, but having a supplement that like that it really does help. Um, and that's something I
It
do.
really
Yeah,
did.
yeah, it
It
really does. And
really
I
did for me,
yeah,
for sure. And
so I
I
needed
just
that too.
think
So
if people are kind of struggling, I think you really have to be an advocate for your own health. And if something seems off, because the body's the perfect machine, okay? And what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. But if something seems off, go see your doctor. Go have a conversation, do some research, try, like I've been chasing healthy for 38 years and only now, like literally almost 40 years, am I finding that okay, I have changed a lot of my habits to drinking the water, walking or running. I know I got to add in the weights. I know. I'm still working on it, Lynn. Um, I've increased my
I even tell
protein.
my patients lately, I know people don't like going to the gym. I have a really good friend that just tells me every day, I know it. If you can do 10 wall push-ups and 10 squats in the morning when you get up, and if you do 10 before bed, that's a start. That's your body weight, but that's all you need to start with. Upper
Right.
body, lower body. 10 wall push-ups, 10 air squats. I'd stand up and I got my little shirt, my shirt still on from my from my pajamas. But 10 air squats. So you're going up and down like that. Okay. And then you do want to make sure you have progressively get stronger. So you do have maybe some small weights to start with, and you're doing your upper body. You're doing your biceps. You just want to slowly make sure that we don't run into doing everything for your cardiovascular health and nothing for your as far as like
Strength,
resistance training. Yeah,
functional strength. Right.
strength
Like,
training. Yeah. Hmm.
and I know that um, I will watch people when they're walking and you see, you know, some of the seniors that are hunched over, have the cane, walking very, very gingerly. And then you'll see somebody who's maybe 20 years older than them and, in their 90s, upright and strong and walking and bold and or running. And I literally saw someone the other day when I was out for a run with the dog. And this lady, I'm going to guess she looked she looked really, really great. But I'm going to guess that she was in her late 80s, early 90s.
Hmm.
And I just, saw her out power walking. She had the like the ski poles because it was still a little bit not icy here, but there's a little bit ginger dropping of snow, and so she was just making sure that she was safe. And I just thought, gosh, that's what I aspire to be. I aspire to be strong as a senior. I want to have that functional strength. And so I don't want to worry about breaking the hip. I don't want to worry about not being able to go up and down the stairs with ease. So
So
those are the things that I'm working towards.
the core is what you can first work on, all of us. which is again for functional and staying upright and being strong. I think that's the first thing we can all work on is so that we don't get a back injury because it's so common. So lifting up 10 times, stretching like you're going to take, once a year you go into the closet to take out your Christmas decorations, let's say. You're reaching up and then you go to reach up and and then you get a back injury. So if you just reach up every day and then reach like you're going under the bed and reach up, go all the way up, all the way down, all the way, do that 10 times. Do the other side 10 times. So
Mhm.
brace your abs as you're walking. Brace your abs. If you touch your stomach, go 2 inches in with your fingers. You can feel your abs. Squeeze them, right? Even when you're sitting. You can do your abs all day. Squeeze and then release. And then put your and then when you're going to reach, squeeze those abs. When you're going to reach down, squeeze those abs. This is all what we call bracing. What you're doing is making sure you don't get you don't want to get an injury to your back. That's how you're going to be, your mobility and keeping strong in aging is really, really important. So you don't have to be at a gym doing weights and crunches. You need to be doing functional activity where you're bracing. So again, if you take your fingers, stick them right now in your abdomen,
Okay.
press them
Okay.
in,
I
feel them, and just squeeze for 5 seconds. Just while we're sitting here, squeeze. You should feel them tighten up. Feel them hard.
I feel the FUPA,
Really
and
squeeze.
underneath the
Feel
FUPA,
squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Right, and then
there's some
even your lower.
abdominals under there.
Yep. And then the lower back needs to be worked just as much as the front. So the lower back would be laying on the ground and just slowly lifting up one arm and then the other arm, and then one foot and then the other foot, and then the arms, and then both feet. And so you're doing the front and the back. You can do that right from your home. So all of these things are just as important as slowly getting stronger. But for now, those are good things to start with. So, and we
So,
should do them regardless, all the time, all of us.
yes, I know. I've been hearing it for 25 years. I promise you. Hey, hey, listen, I was at the JW in Edmonton
I
last
saw
week.
you did.
For proof of authenticity, I'm going to take a picture for Lynn that I went and worked out at 5 in the morning and actually, and here's the thing. I'm not going to deny it because I haven't done weights for so long. What I learned on weights was the old universal gym when I was
Correct.
getting my physical education degree. Now you see all of these machines, and I'm going to admit, I don't intimidate easy. But when you don't know how to use a machine properly, it's intimidating.
Of
And so
course.
I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm not just going to buckle and turn back to my room. I don't need instruction manual for dumbbells. And so I did my dumbbell
Yeah.
workout, I did
Good.
my lunges, I did my what I knew I could do until I learned how to use these machines properly. It was 5 in the morning. There wasn't a trainer there. There was a lot of fit people there. There was a lot of people trying to get fit there. So I fit right in. But there wasn't somebody who could, well, there was somebody, but they were up on the second floor at the desk. And I'm not going to go up there, hey, can you show me how to use this machine? I'm going to just do the dumbbells, do my shoulder shrugs, do my triceps, biceps, lunges, call it a day. Um, but I was really happy that I still attempted because that was the first time in a really long time. And then I went back to my room and I had my no sugar protein bar, and where I can, I really try to eat real food. But sometimes when you're traveling, and I found that the hardest
Hmm.
is that I'm not out running with my dog. I'm not eating regular food. I ate out every single meal 3 times a day, plus a couple of snacks, and I was out of my
Your normal
routine.
routine. Yeah.
But I brought my holos with me. I mixed it up in the fridge at my I was going to say resort. No, I was at the hotel. And then I brought a couple of my protein bars, the ones with no sugar, my meta bars. And so where I could, I incorporated clean eating as much as I can
What's
or
the
clean
carb on
snacking.
those?
Pardon me?
What's the carb on those?
Oh, Linny Lynn,
We don't look at the
listen.
sugar.
Okay, 110 calories,
Great.
5 grams of fat,
Okay.
17 grams of carbs,
Okay.
7 grams of fiber,
Nice.
Zero sugar, 14 grams of protein. Do I
So there's zero
pass?
added sugar, which is great. It's 140. I mean, I'm sorry, it's 14 grams of carb, but if you add a zero, that's 140. And you said how many calories? Only 100, right?
110.
So yeah, so remember I said a good high protein snack has, if you add a zero to the protein, that
Right.
you want it to be one, if it's 14, you want it to be 140 or less. So that's good for protein. And the carbs were 16?
17.
17. So that's about the same as eating a slice of bread with protein. So
So is
that's
it
good.
okay?
It's yes, it's about one slice of bread. So see where the front says no sugar? That does not matter. Bread doesn't have a bunch of sugar either. It's the total carb that affects your blood sugar. So we're looking at the total carb. There's
Right.
no added sugar, but there is something in there that's carb. You can tell by the picture. I mean, that's where I was like,
100%.
wait. You said zero
You know,
sugar,
it's
but
a little
that's
bit
not
too
the main.
tiny for me to read the ingredients.
Don't worry about it. It's on the go. That's fine. So again, you're not at home. You don't have like your regular routine. That is a great little snack. I wouldn't say it's a full meal. It's like one
No,
slice of
no.
bread. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's good.
So, and I think that, where you can find that product that you like and that you like the taste and you can incorporate it into um, your routines, I think that helps you find success because, but I'm going to be honest, I go in waves. Like, I'll find something that I really love, and then after a while, I'm like, I cannot eat that anymore.
That's
And then I'm
normal
on
though.
the hunt for
You've
something
got to
else
be
because I
able
get
to,
bored.
yeah, you got to change it up. You want to do different things all the time because again, this is something you want to do for long term. So,
Yeah.
but I think we've hit some really good topics today. So I hope that there was a lot of good takeaways for everybody. For everybody.
Well, thanks, Lynn. I look forward to, of course, picking your brain, Google Lynn some more, and look forward to Liz joining us when she can, and we
Oh,
can
great.
share some more nutritional information from a registered dietitian. And I think
Awesome.
that's the
Yep.
key.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we'll see y'all next week.
Fight the FUPA.
Bye.
Bye.